It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter.
He's Chad.
And this is the Irish 365 podcast.
Chad, this is Lou Holtz. That's head coach of Notre Dame for 11 years. Greatest experience of my life. They're starting a Notre Dame podcast this summer. I have a podcast as well, but it's not about Notre Dame football, although I wish there were. But congratulations on your success. And it would be nice if I could be on your podcast, but my schedule is so hectic. But anything that has to do with Notre Dame, I'm all for it. God bless you. Go Irish.
Welcome back to the Irish 365 podcast. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing good. It's been on a hiatus, but feeling good to be back in studio.
I was going to say, not just studio, but I mean, look around.
Studio A.
I mean, that's how you know it's spring here in Indiana, right?
Right, we're back in Studio A.
We've had a spring game. We're back in Studio A. We're not frozen out of it. I mean...
Well, I've got some planned upgrades over the next couple of weeks to have a little bit better heating, cooling situation here in Studio A.
I think just the Irish 65 podcast has some maybe upgrades coming in the next couple of weeks, right? We've got some ideas in the works. You've got some ideas for the studio.
We've been talking stuff here for last 3 months, and just now it's time to start getting into those.
We've been bouncing ideas back and forth and thinking about some things. I think we've got some. I think you guys would know some exciting upgrades. The Irish 65 podcast, right?
Yeah. We'll tease them a little bit and see what happens.
Right, so we're up to something.
Up to something.
I mean, we're up to something season. I mean, who knows?
Trademark.
I mean, I don't think
use that.
I don't think it's TM, so we should be all right.
Okay,
on that one. Don't sue us, right?
Up to something season's about to happen.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, exciting stuff around here. We're enjoying the spring, and I mean, our 65 podcast might be on to season 2 right now. Is this official or is this season 2? I don't know.
Season 1 started with football. It was a little
It was in the summer. I'm giving you that. But I'm just saying,
spring.
We're into a new football season though, right after the spring game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. That's the capstone on the previous year, I guess. And now, football starts back up with summer workouts and then fall camp.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we're on season 2.
We're on season 2 of the Irish 65 podcast.
Right. Season 2.
Yep. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah, we've made it.
Yes. And you hit the right button on the first try. I mean, we're a big time program. We're a big time program.
It's only taken me 15 episodes to figure out which button does what.
Exactly.
But hey, we've got the same equipment going into season 2 as season 1. We had sound system upgrades. We had software changes. We had just this low budget thing, learning on the fly.
Tens of followers into maybe even 100 followers. I mean,
I think we've got hundreds of followers out there.
Maybe not hundreds, maybe 100. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big year, though.
How many of those followers that we've built, this little community? I mean, how many of those people are on all the social media sites?
That is true. That is true, because, we're in yes.
I mean, we get 100 listeners or 100 views, 100 something views in YouTube, and then we get another 100 something, on
that is very true.
Like,
probably weren't listening.
Two on Apple Podcast or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, so
2. Yeah.
I have no idea what the
we can't see Apple. We're going to be honest. We haven't figured that one out yet. We talked about a high budget, but
I know there's people that tell me they listen to us on Apple Podcasts, but I don't.
Ironically, we're not one of them. You're not an Apple guy. I am, but I don't listen on Apple Podcasts. I'm a YouTube guy when I'm going back and looking at stuff. Ironically, so
yeah. I mean, for me, it's usually Spotify.
Yeah,
is usually the one I listen to, and of course, you can do video on Spotify. We do video on Spotify as well. But when I'm doing just headphones in, and I don't watch the video as much. I just listen. Like Spotify is kind of my go-to.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm listening to like other podcasts, because one of the things I really don't like about a lot of podcasts is it seems like every 2.5 minutes, there's a commercial.
Yep.
And it's like,
not here.
Not here. You don't have to worry about the commercial interruption here.
Yeah.
We're
gonna keep it that way, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I mean, maybe we'll get some sponsorship here, and we'll just do some merch, like a NASCAR in the background or something. But
I mean, maybe.
Maybe we should be selling some Irish 365 merch.
Maybe.
If that's what the people want.
If the people want it.
If the people want it, we got a source.
Yep.
We'll
Thank you, Grace.
Grace. We'll shout out Grace. I don't think she listens.
Maybe.
But she should.
Yeah.
She's a Jersey gal. Maybe she is. I mean, a lot of Jersey people are Notre Dame fans.
That's true.
And probably not after Steve Angeli.
That is true.
Yeah.
That seems like to be the big news right now, right? I mean, talk of the whole spring ball. Who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the quarterback?
Yeah.
We're a little bit closer, right? I mean, if you're a gambling person, you had 1 in 3 chance of getting it right. Now we're down to 50-50.
That's right.
So obviously, Steve Angeli decided to hit the transfer portal after the spring game, and I don't think that was probably too big of a surprise to a lot of people who follow the program pretty closely. I mean, we're not obviously we do this podcast. We're not in South Bend. We're not in the locker room. We're not going to claim that we knew whoever, and we had this information before all of you.
We've got no sources.
Yeah, we've got no sources. But I mean, after the spring game, it sounded like a lot of those guys that are insiders, and we're kind of hinting at it. And yeah, I mean, it's a guy that, man, he gave everything Notre Dame, right? I think we both feel that way. Like, obviously, that incredible Orange Bowl game,
yeah,
will always be a game we remember.
Yeah,
like, I mean, that'll be a game that we're talking about 50 years from now.
No one's taken less snaps and been more folklore hero.
Yeah.
Than Steve Angeli.
Yep.
And I said it, I think, in private text between you and I and Jordan. Like, if Steve Angeli goes on to make the NFL roster, I'm going to root for the kid. Like, I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
For him, because again, like you said, he did everything he could, and end of the day, I just we went to the blue and gold game, and I just wanted to see the team, how they looked, make my own impressions, because I thought after the blue and gold game last year, we had some opinions.
Yeah.
Just because you see so much on the media, and I think it's a little interesting that the media spin has been a little less coming into this spring.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot to be said about that. I don't know if that's the fact that we're just seem like days, but just a month or two after the national championship, here you are having a spring game.
Yeah.
And normally, football is wrapped up at the first of January.
Yeah.
And the spring game is not till April, and it was kind of an early spring game because of Easter, because of a later Easter this year.
Yeah.
And it was a different format, which everybody's like, oh, the scoring was weird, but I didn't care about the scoring. I mean, never cared about blue or gold who wins. Like, they could just not keep score and just do that same format, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that scoring is for.
I don't think I look at the scoreboard besides the time. Like, I was never like, oh my gosh, the defense is beating them or the offense is crushing them.
I can't believe the offense is up so many. Yeah. So same. But I've never really worried about the score of a blue and gold game. Like, I've just never worried about it. Yeah. So I just say do away with. Hey, Marcus, I know you're listening.
Yeah.
Do away with the scoring. Just play the format was great.
Yep.
Just maybe not the 7-on-7 stuff, or
But we got to talk about this. How funny was it? Everyone who's going to come out first as the starting quarterback? Who's going to come out as the first as the starting quarterback?
Hey, Blake got the first.
I was going to say that was
not see that come.
Awesome. Not sending out any Kenny, CJ, or Steve Angeli to take the first snaps of the blue and gold game was an awesome move by Marcus Freeman.
Yeah. Hey, just a little more of that gamesmanship. That's he's, and I think that's kind of the interesting thing is just how much Marcus has grown last year. Like, we loved him as a coach going into last season.
Yeah.
We thought, he's third year, a little experienced, and you go from the beginning of last year to the end of last year in that national championship game, and just, I mean, he grew up as a coach.
Yeah.
Before our eyes, and that was awesome to see. And I mean, he just seems to be in so much command of everything, and everything has purpose, everything has a reason. And I think one of my favorite quotes I heard him talking about, like, you can't control tomorrow, no one wins tomorrow.
Yeah.
Be the best version of yourself today you can be.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was an awesome quote. Like, very, very, very telling.
Yep.
But so I mean, in the blue and gold game, I think last year we kind of read the situation like Angeli was a better backup.
Yeah.
Going into the season, Riley Leonard we couldn't tell anything about because he was taking air snaps behind the.
Yeah.
Which we did not help us love Riley Leonard going.
No, it did not give us a great first impression.
Yeah. And we talked about that with Caden today, and it's like how much Riley Leonard grew.
Yes.
On people, and people really appreciated Riley Leonard from the end of the season to the beginning of the season. And, And we'll talk about him in the draft here in a little bit and where that whole thing.
But also, I think the biggest thing people forget, though, about the start of last season is Riley Leonard didn't have that spring practice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was injured. He came off that ankle surgery. He was not getting that full spring practice. So he didn't start practice till summer ball.
Yeah.
And I think if you think about that season, hindsight, he grows every week. Like, obviously, he runs the ball well every week, I think, from the beginning of the season, in my opinion. but his arm, like he gets more confident in knowing where the receivers are going to be, what the offense is as the year goes on. Obviously, he always depended on his legs, but that's just the athlete he is. But not having that spring ball probably shows those first 4 weeks of the season.
But that was also Denbrock trying to figure out what Riley Leonard was really good at and not. Like, you know, I mean, so it was, I mean, him not being able to play in spring hurt him and hurt the team probably more than we realized until the end of the season.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. Couldn't agree more. But it'll be interesting to see because there was quite a few spring transfer portal guys, quarterback-wise. Obviously, Nico Amaliva, whatever is how you actually say it. But Amalivia is how I'm going to read it from now on.
Him and his brother.
Yeah, him and his brother going out to UCLA. But just like, you'll be interested to follow these guys that do hit this later transfer portal from the quarterbacks. If they end up starting, are they going to have this similar slow start? Because they are learning, they're going to a new place pretty late, like for the college football world.
New offense, new playbook, new
everything. And you're not getting all those spring practices in with those guys. So, I mean, Steve Angeli included.
I mean, he graduates here in May.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's staying on campus to get his graduation in, and then he'll be off to Syracuse for summer workouts and getting ready. But I think the thing we learned about Angeli is he's always ready. I mean, he's Steve Peanut Butter and Jelly, always ready.
What does Luis always say? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Stay ready. LB7 right there.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Angeli will probably thrive at Syracuse.
Yeah.
And I think he'll come around pretty quick. I haven't looked at Syracuse schedule other than I know it's our senior game.
Yep.
Last game of the season. And Jelly's going to be coming back to Notre Dame.
Yep.
And I think that'll be interesting. Because I would anticipate him getting cheered by the Notre Dame faithful. Like I could see him getting I
mean, they won't come out and fully announce his name.
Like he'll get applause.
Yep.
And then Marcus Freeman's going to send the house defensively after him because he's not going to be able to run away from, Bryce Young and Traore and Snead. Like,
it's going to be a blitz. Game. Yeah.
They're going to say, we know what you're good and not good at.
Yeah. Steve. Don't give this guy a clean pocket.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't give him a clean pocket. Don't give him a look.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you saw what Syracuse did last year, just on the Steve Angeli note, with Kyle McCord from Ohio State. I mean, I think they led the nation in passing last year. And there's a very similar situation where there's a kid that was pretty good and had a lot of people just were like, yeah, but he's probably not our best option, right? Like, obviously, Ohio State goes on to win the national championship this year. So, yeah, I mean, I fully hoping that we send out Steve Angeli and we go on to the national championship with the better option right behind him. Right?
We hope he has a great season, just
like McCord did. We hope we have a similar,
and we go on to win the Natty.
Yep,
that would be good for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean that was interesting, but I think we come out of the spring game, and I mean I know it was conversation between you, Jordan, and myself in text. I don't even think we got out of the parking lot before I sent the text and said, it's close between Kenny and CJ and Riley Leonard's transferring. Like
not Riley Leonard, Steve Angeli. Yes,
Steve Angeli's transferring. So yeah, I mean, I kind of saw it, and I've thought a lot about it, a lot of different ways, and I felt like probably the best way to describe it, because the draft just happened this weekend. If a guy is a potential starter or program changer in a quarterback, he's a top 5 pick. He's first round pick if he's a potential starter, maybe second round pick. And then, you don't normally get quarterbacks drafted third, fourth round. I mean, just no one wastes third, fourth round picks on quarterbacks, because if you get to the third, fourth,
because there's only one on the field.
Yeah, and you're looking at a guy a backup or a project, someone you're going to develop.
Yeah.
So you typically go either first, second round or your fifth, sixth round.
Yep.
There's no in between. And I would say that Steve Angeli right now, if he was a starter at Notre Dame, I think he would win us a lot of games.
Yeah.
I think with Steve Angeli at Notre Dame, we could have been a Final 8 team.
Yeah.
Pretty confident we could be a Final 8 team with Angeli. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't be a Final 4 even to win a national championship with him. But I think when I look at Steve Angeli and I look at how well he plays and what his potential is, I don't think Steve Angeli gets above a 5th round pick.
Yeah,
in the draft.
That's his ceiling.
I really do.
What we talk about though is he's probably more of a game manager. It was gonna be interesting what Marcus Freeman could do, because he could just be like, we're gonna rely on our defense and Steve Angeli's going to be the guy that doesn't go turning the ball over, right?
And if you're Notre Dame this year,
Yeah.
you could have very easily stuck with Steve Angeli.
Yeah.
Because I think the defense might actually be better.
Yeah.
And that's
said this
crazy
a lot,
to say.
but we keep saying this the last couple of years, and it's turned out true though, right? Like we're like, man, is our defense going to be better than last year? And it's like, yeah, I guess we were. Like,
I mean, we're losing Xavier Watts,
Benjamin Morris,
and I would be like, I can't believe we're losing Benjamin Moore, but we lost him so early in the year last year. So it's not like, okay, there's not a fall off from him.
Yeah.
Now, Adon Schuler came on late.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Leonard Moore came on. It's like, the freshman.
I mean, Xavier Watts' experience is going to be
it's big.
A big loss, right? But yeah, I mean, you got Tay Johnson that's had, I mean, obviously he
had the injury.
But yeah, he had an injury, but seems like he's
coming around.
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously in that safety room, another transporter guy that people were upset about was Kennedy Urlacher. I mean, that one kind of stung a little bit, right? I mean, I'm saying yes, it stung because I'm more going to stung because where he went. You know what I mean? Like
USC hurt more than the fact, like
the name,
the Urlacher name. Like if he was Kenny Smith, I'd be disappointed that we lost him because he flashed during times.
Looked good on special teams.
But
looked good against Purdue.
When he flashed and his last name was Urlacher, it was just like,
oh man,
because his dad was such a freaking
freight train,
beast. I mean, just his dad was a defensive monster, and there's no other way to put it. So, but when you look at it and you say, well, he transferred because he was fifth or sixth, and maybe sixth was probably his, like, where he's at in the rock. It's like just not a place for him to like get playing time. So I get him transferring, and you're like, well, wait a minute, if that kid's transferring because he's not ahead of the other five, okay, we're not too bad a shape. So the Xavier Watts experience is going to be hurt a little bit, but I think the other guys playing with Watts is going to help. And then again, we lost BMO so early in the year last year that I think that's going to be a wash. Like the other guys got experience, Christian Gray. I mean, like just
Riley Mills and Howard Cross, obviously big losses up front, but
see those are big losses on the interior. And I think, when you look at Onyé coming back, you look at, pick up in the transfer portal, like, you look at Traore, you look at, like, Young, like, I think our defensive line as a whole will be better on the outside. And we've got, like, Vernon, and we got, like, Sean Sevillano. Like, we've got some interior guys to fill in that gap. And then we're losing Kaiser. And that is going to hurt. From just, again, that leadership.
All-time leader, played the most games in Notre Dame history, right? Like,
but, the storyline is that Drake Bowen is stepping up and he's becoming that leader. Like, he's, and it's like, okay, now you got Bowen, you got Sneed, you got, KVA,
and then you got
Madden, the young guy coming in. Like, so, again, it just sounds like, I think defensively we're better. And we could have won a lot of games last year with Angeli. We could have won a lot of games with Angeli this year, this upcoming year. Like but if his ceiling is 5th round draft pick, or late 2nd round, if he just has the Joe Burrow,
I was against
which I don't think the Pickler. I think it was nice of him to say, but I don't think that's the case. I hope it is. I hope he surprises me. I mean, I think of Angeli more like a, kind of a guy. He's more of a Tom Brady, right? Really good quarterback in the right environment, right team in the NFL. He will thrive. If he finds
early Tom Brady, obviously late Tom Brady's different. Like
late Tom Brady, he grew into the all-time great, right?
He's not saying Steve Angeli's late Tom Brady. He's saying
early career Tom Brady.
Like he's in the right spot.
He's behind a veteran quarterback. That guy gets injured, steps in, performs well, doesn't let go of the job, gets better year after year.
I just want to clear up. I knew what you were saying, but I want to make sure that's
I don't want to put him in the Tom Brady category. I'm not saying
he's not Joe Burrow. He's Tom Brady. You're right. I know what you were going for. I just want to make sure.
I appreciate you clarifying my comment there, but. But I mean, I think that's kind of, if he gets in the right spot, he could have a really solid NFL career. I mean, and we talk about it at different times. Like Ian Book, under Sean Payton at, New Orleans Saints could have been a pretty good quarterback. Well, he did
thrusted in COVID.
Didn't get that opportunity. Yeah, he got thrown in on a Thursday night game with like a half day's notice.
Yeah.
And no practice. And
you're the emergency quarterback because the other three been in the room all week together.
Yeah.
You've never thrown to these guys. Good luck. Here's the national TV game.
And I always go back to the Brady Quinn. Like Brady Quinn had his opportunity to break out in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I was at that game with Jason and a friend Doug, and Doug, a big Cleveland, Ohio guy. And I mean, literally we were like in the stands and they were chanting, Brady Quinn, and they put Anderson in. Yeah. And Anderson just like, I mean, the Browns were down, I think, like 21 points or something in the first half. It was just, it was not going well. They pulled the starter. They put their second guy in. And I think he was on his first series. He was terrible. Going to his second series, the crowd's chanting Quinn. And you're like, oh, they're going to put Brady Quinn in. And then, like, I don't know what happened, but, like, there were some receivers that made some phenomenal catches that were just on bad balls. And then Anderson, like, takes off and, like, has this, like, momentum going. They come back and win this game, like, 52 to 50 or something like that. And then he goes on to like make the Pro Bowl that year.
Yeah.
And you're like, Brady Quinn, like just that close. And then the next year, I think Quinn gets to be the starter and he breaks his finger with the helmet. That's
pretty
like,
early. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, just so, NFL, man, it's being, there's so many good guys. I mean, it's just, there's so many good guys. They're all talented as all get out.
Yeah.
And it's just being in the right place, the right time, and taking advantage of it. And Jelly will take advantage of it.
Yeah.
If he can find himself in the right place at the right time.
We talk about this like in the playoffs, like how many things got to go your way, but that's just sports.
It's
like
life.
Yeah. I mean, how many things?
It's life.
Yes, you have to be prepared for the moment, but you can always be prepared for that moment, and it may never show up, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you may be preparing for something that never happens.
Yep.
Or you may be preparing for something and take advantage of the opportunity. And I mean, that's but that's just life. Always be prepared.
That's what makes it entertaining, right?
That's why I always tell Maddie, keep a song in your head. You never know you're going to be a dance contest.
Hey, you never do know, right? I mean,
there's video.
That might make it on the old X page because we're trying to get more active on there.
There you go. Yeah, we're going to try to get more.
Here's a little plug. We've got a good Instagram following, but yeah, we're gonna be looking to get more active on the old X account. So make sure you're checking us out.
Yeah. So find us on X. We'll get more content.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stop calling it Twitter. I'm gonna do better. It's X.
Hey, season 2. Let's be better. The X.
So
yeah, going back to the quarterbacks in the spring game, I think we both looked at it and said, and I felt like coming out of the spring game. I felt like Kenny Minchie was a smidge ahead in the play of CJ Carr, like that day. Like
our immediate reaction, which was definitely different than other people, and that's fine. Yeah. Like that's the fun part about it, right? Like,
and there may be a little bit of Kenny bias there.
Yeah,
and I like Kenny for a lot of different reasons. I think he's got a hell of an arm, like elastic.
Yeah.
But I like CJ Carr a lot too. Yeah. Like if Kenny Minchie didn't exist, I would be all on the CJ Carr train. If CJ Carr didn't exist, I think everybody'd be on the Kenny Minchie train.
Obviously, CJ Carr's, some people call him the chosen one. They're all on the hype train. But let's explain this to people who don't know. CJ Carr, a year younger than Kenny Minchie, committed to Notre Dame before Kenny Minchie.
Yes. Yeah.
So you also have to realize why there is so much hype behind Carr. Not only we talk about last names, right? The son of Lloyd Carr does not help.
The grandson of Lloyd Carr.
Yeah.
Like, there's name
recognition there. Obviously, it's a Michigan guy who's head coach at Michigan, won a national championship. So obviously, anytime Notre Dame can stick it to a Michigan person, that's
even better.
But yes, CJ Carr was committed to Notre Dame because before Kenny Minchie. That's how long CJ Carr was committed, but also
Tommy Reese.
Yeah.
Was the reason CJ Carr committed to Notre Dame. Tommy Reese.
Yeah.
How long has it been since he was the coach?
Yeah. It's his going into Denbrock's third year, and there's a year between with
he went to Troy.
Yep. There you go.
We just forgot about him.
Yeah, we tried to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Troy. No kidding. That's gonna come back just in the middle of the night.
But I mean, yeah. So I think like the people who are the ultras that follow the recruiting and everything else that are all in, I think they're all in on. Their biases to Carr because of the name and because of like
Jared Parker.
Yeah, Jared Parker. There you
go.
And I think it's because Kenny, because Carr just been around forever, and everybody thought when we lost Tommy Reese, we were going to lose Carr, and we didn't. Yeah. He's like, nope, I'm sticking. In fact, it was the Dante Moore kid that we were recruiting. That when he left, they were trying to get Carr to reclass and go come to Notre Dame a year earlier.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then, legend has it, Notre Dame got a call, and, Kenny Minchie got a call, and, in 4 weeks later, he's signing. Like, it was a month or two before signing.
He had that time for the hype to get around it.
Yeah. It was just kind of like, oh, we don't have a quarterback. And the people, and again, I tell you, don't follow recruiting. And it's a heartbreaking situation. 17-year-old kids are making decisions. And now with NIL, it's even worse. And you got to, if you don't have the stomach for it, don't do it. But
and they might sign for you and then leave before they play a
game.
Yeah.
I'm a lever.
Yeah.
So you get into that, and like Kenny, like literally was kind of this afterthought, and he wasn't a big hype. Notre Dame like was interested in him in early, but then Dante Moore committed, and Notre Dame didn't talk and wasn't. But the funny thing is, he was an Elite 11 quarterback. He was actually ranked higher than CJ Carr.
I remember you telling me that, and I was like, really?
Yeah, like the kid. I'll put it this way: I think Carr is probably his ceiling is probably second half of the first round.
Yeah,
I don't see Carr being a top 10 pick.
Yeah,
and right now I would say Carr probably is playing at a potential to be a second round pick. Like Carr's playing at a second round pick level.
You're saying if he keeps growing and growing.
I'm saying that
with his age, not like if he entered in this year's draft, he'd be the second round pick.
No, but I think like where Carr's at and like where his like projection is, and he gets the experience at Notre Dame, as a starting quarterback this year. I think at the end of this year, they'll be talking about CJ Carr if he decided to go pro. I think they're talking about him being a day 2 pick.
Yeah.
Where Angeli, I don't think you're talking about anything higher than a 5th round pick.
Yeah, day 3 pick.
So I think you got to look at that and say, okay, right now Carr is ahead of Angeli, and I think you look at Kenny Minchie, and I think right now Kenny Minchie's probably a second day pick.
Yeah,
your second round pick.
He might be end of second round, third day. Like if he has
like right now, if he plays a starting role and has a good season, I think that's where. So I think where Carr and Kenny are very similar right now. In their where they're at.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at what they potential goes to, I think Carr can get better and move himself into that first round pick, but I don't think Carr is a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
I could be wrong because again, he's the pocket passer, and that's not in vogue in the NFL right now. But when I look at Kenny, like he has the potential to be a top 5.
And especially when you see this raw talent, the NFL just loves that with the upside potential, right? This guy that's just an athlete, like Anthony Richardson has a decent season, great measurables, and stupid fast, and great athlete, then goes top 3, right?
And it hasn't
always panned out, but that's how the NFL is, right? Like,
I mean, it's what's in vogue because the Josh Allens and the Patrick Mahomes and those guys are just like, hey, athletic quarterbacks. And my hot take that day was, man, it's close between CJ and Kenny, but I think Kenny's slightly ahead of him.
Yeah.
And I felt that way because I think you look at the upside potential of Kenny and it's a little higher. And I think Carr is more polished. Carr is closer to being his finished product than Kenny is, because Carr's been groomed for this from probably the time he was born.
Yeah.
Right? And Kenny's developed into it. And I think Carr played a much more sophisticated offense in high school than what Kenny did.
Yeah.
And I know Kenny also got injured his senior year.
Yeah.
And that was time he was away from the field.
Yeah.
And then Kenny's been QB3 at Notre Dame, and he's not got as many snaps, So it'll be interesting because I think him and Carr both are going to benefit from getting more snaps.
Yep.
In the fall camp. But I've been back and forth.
We both have, because I think at different times.
No, it's going to be Carr. And here's the thing. I think about that first game in Miami, and I don't worry about Miami as a team. I worry about Miami as an environment.
Yeah.
That's going to be a first, like,
it's gonna be a having game.
That's gonna be a tough. That's a night game, opening weekend, week 0,
Sunday night, I think,
in Miami. Like, not a Notre Dame friendly environment. Like, it's going to be raucous. It's going to be rocking. I mean, it's just going to be a lot. Now, the good thing is we were just in Miami.
Yeah,
and
we beat the curse, right?
Right. So, like, we're the environment, the field.
We've played at Hard Rock Stadium more recently than Miami has.
Miami has. Yeah. That's true. But I mean, that's going to be a tough environment. And I think when you go to that, and I think, okay, Kenny is more because when I thought about it, like my take, and I'm not a quarterback guru, so don't run to the bank with it. But my take is Kenny was like just a half a second slow, like releasing the ball. Now he still got it there, and I don't know. He had like six balls that were either broken up or dropped. I think 3 drops.
I would say they hit guys in the hands.
3 drops that were hitting the hands, and then,
I think if we're caught, because I think 2 of them would have been touchdown passes.
Yeah,
there was like, okay, what's the media spin if those are 2 touchdown balls, right? Instead of drops by the receivers.
But I also felt like Denbrock's play calling was different for Carr and for Minchie.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that was just a bad perception on my part, or if that's actually what was going on.
Yeah.
And I felt like C.J. Carr had easier throws.
Mm-hmm.
Like when C.J. Carr was throwing the ball, I felt like they were better designed plays to get guys open. And his throws were, and he threw some great balls. And I felt like Kenny had a little tougher throws.
Yeah.
But I felt like I don't think he threw a bad ball where like it was a 50-50 ball. I felt like where Kenny placed the ball, it was either going to be caught or broke up, but it wasn't going to be intercepted.
Yeah.
He didn't throw any bad balls.
He didn't throw any picks, or CJ did end up throwing one.
And it wasn't a bad pick. It wasn't like, oh, CJ.
What are we doing?
Yeah. It wasn't the Riley Leonard NIU pick from last
20
year.
yards.
Like, so I mean, he was under duress. He tried to force the ball. I don't think it was a bad throw. He threw the pick, but I don't hold it against CJ in my opinion. But yeah, so I just like, okay, is it that are they pushing Kenny to be the guy? And that was kind of my impression walking out. And then I thought, okay, now you got a tough environment. Then you go week 2, you got A&M, Elko's second year.
Yeah.
You're going to see the most exotic defensive front. Like you're going to see the toughest defense you're going to see.
I mean, how many night 1, night 2 edge guys they just have, but they're just straight stock.
But they're loaded. They're loaded with those guys. I mean, 2 guys I think went in the top.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you're going to see a lot. And like it's going to be a tough start. And then I think, okay, because of that, because he's closer to a finished product, because he's more poised, CJ Carr might be the guy.
Yeah.
And then I keep going back and thinking, why didn't we keep Angeli around? Then I think this really goes. I was listening to some other podcasts and I've read some other stuff, and it is my understanding from the rumor mill that Steve Angeli said, "I'm either going to be QB1 or I'm going to transfer." Yeah. Like that was his decision. Like I'm either going to be QB1 or I'm going to transfer, and he was willing to come back and participate in fall camp and stick around another year if the coaches had told him that he was still in the running for QB1. Like he
didn't need to be named the starter the day after the spring game.
No,
but
if they would have come in and said, "Hey, we're going to narrow this down to you and Carr, or you and Minchie," or even if the coach would have said, "We're going to keep this as a 3-man race going into the fall camp," Angeli would have come back because he wanted to win that job. He wanted to be QB1.
If he thought he had a chance. Yeah,
right. So kudos to the coaches, one, because it would have been so easy to say, you know what, Kenny's not ready. DJ's not ready.
Yeah.
I think I'm most comfortable game 1 and game 2 with, keeping Angeli around. And then week 3, week 4, we transition to our guy of the future. So, kudos to the coaches for not forcing that and, giving Angeli, which, Angeli's been nothing but class to Notre Dame. And I think it was good to see the coaches be class to Angeli and give him that opportunity. And
right.
I think I heard a rumor today that he's getting like $2 million.
That's the case.
And good. Which is awesome because he was getting like $250 at Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, good for him.
So I think that's it. And I'm back and forth. Depending on the day and the hour.
You either got #why not Kenny or #start the car.
Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, I love them both. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I'm back and forth. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the fall. It will. I don't think there's a bad decision. Unless you put CJ Carr in and and it just he isn't everything we hope he is, or you put Kenny in, isn't everything you hope he is. But I think both of those guys have potential to be like really, really, really good. And I think both of those guys, I think either one of those guys, I'm comfortable getting us to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And, and then we'll 3 months from now, couple months from now, we'll go into our season prediction like we started.
Oh, yeah, we got plenty of time. I've already seen some of those podcasts out there giving you week 1 predictions. It's like, geez.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, we're not going to go.
There's a whole lot to go between now and then. And
yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see where we go between now and the fall. Wish Angeli all the best in the world. But so, yeah, what do you think right now? As we sit here today, like, who do you think?
So, yeah, I mean, right after the spring game, I was all on the why not Kenny. But, yeah, I mean, I've been, like we said, I've been back and forth. I think we've been at different points at different times. Yeah. I think that we were both at why not Kenny. And then I've been on CJ because, I mean, yeah, he's just a guy that is more polished. He's not going to, I'm going to say this, not going to make the mistakes. He's going to complete more passes. But then I just go, what is Denbrock like? Denbrock just likes a running, like,
yeah,
he just likes the mobile quarterback. And CJ is mobile, but just like Kenny is just a freaking athlete. If you didn't see it with the backflip, like, the dude's going to have a ball. And he's not Jaden Daniels. But it's like, he's the closest thing to it. And I saw 2 years of Mike Denbrock and Jaden Daniels did a number 2 overall pick in a very successful rookie season in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, now Denbrock didn't go win a national championship with them, so I also have that on it. But just like, man, I wouldn't mind seeing him run around and go win Kenny Minchie go win the Heisman, right? I mean,
well, yeah.
I know who Jeremiah loves.
Jeremiah loves getting the Heisman.
Yeah. Yep. Jeremiah loves hoping for CJ Carr. He doesn't want another touchdown.
That's right. He doesn't need another touchdown.
He doesn't need another poacher out there this year.
All Riley Leonard does is take away my touchdown.
Yeah.
Actually, and I think it's funny because that was nowhere near Jeremiah Love's attitude. He was like excited that Jeremiah. So, Jeremiah Love just wants to win. And I think that's going to be interesting. You talk about the quarterback battle, and it's like the running back battle. Yeah. Between Jeremiah Love's your guy.
Which we talked about the portal a little bit. No running backs.
I know. I'm shocked. We haven't a quarterback in the portal yet.
A running
back in the portal yet.
Which I think it's closed. I think it closed.
But it's going to open back up again. I think it opens back up at the end of.
I'm honestly so lost. Like, I know it opens, closes. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, holy smokes. Right after the spring game, I remember last year was like a mass exodus. Like,
I think it opens back up after in late May.
We'll have to do some research on that. Before we do the next one. But
I think but.
I just remember that, last year, they felt like, oh man, there's a lot of people
because Price, Young,
Aeneas Williams, yeah, it's just like, holy smokes.
I mean,
we were literally saying, I won't be surprised if one of these guys leaves, and don't blame them, but that's just how it goes. But they got a new running back coach.
Yeah,
they got the guy from Penn State,
who is as good.
Yeah.
If not, maybe better, but his philosophy is different. Like, of course, you talk about that. Coach McCollum goes to the Raiders. Now he's got Gentry.
Yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
No kid.
Nice way to start your NFL running back coach career. But Seidel he doesn't like to run. McCollum would go 4 running backs deep in the rotation.
Yeah.
And Seidel's like, no, I 1 or 2. So I want to go 2 guys deep. I don't want to go. So you're going, okay, wait a minute. Last year, Payne was
supposed to be the guy,
expected to be the guy, and Love was kind of expected to be number 2.
Yeah,
and then Payne gets injured.
Yeah,
and and then Price, Love comes 1 and Price comes 2, and then Aeneas Williams played great.
Yeah,
and we saw flashes from the young guys, and it's
Kendrick Young, played in some late games that were up big.
Yeah, and so you're going, wait a minute. He's not going to go too deep in most of the games.
Yeah,
we're going to which 2?
Yeah,
Jeremiah Love and who?
Yeah, you have to assume Price, but
you would think Price, and Price looked great in the blue and gold game.
Yeah,
but so did Payne, so did Williams.
Yeah, loved that play.
Young, it's
yeah.
So and you and I, we talked about it. It's like, okay, you remember when we lost Logan Diggs, and we're like, oh, Logan Diggs,
man, that stinks.
That's awful. And then, next thing you know, some guy named Estime shows up, and oh, Logan Diggs, who? We're good.
Yeah,
we're good. Yeah. So I fully expect we're not going to have all the running backs that we have, and I don't know where the numbers are. I think we're over
on scholarships.
Scholarships,
I remember seeing it before the blue and gold game, but obviously changed with guys leaving, but we didn't add anybody on the spring transfer portal, so does not surprise us.
Yeah. Who would you add?
Yeah. Or
I mean, it would.
Or what would be looking for? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe receiver. And
but I don't think I saw any.
Years in a row, I think our receiver room's gotten better, but I still think our receiver room is great.
It's definitely.
It's like it keeps getting better, but it's not great.
Yeah.
And so, and then like the whole ruling things out there, like, we've had some walk-ons, that have like transferred out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because there may just be like a roster limit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd say we had a long snapper at the portal, and then he got I forget where it was, but he got a full ride. Right. It was like, for a long snapper, good for you.
All right.
I know.
Love it. Yeah.
Rhino, I don't know how he pronounces it, but yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
Everyone got a full ride for a long snapper, which is absolutely incredible. So.
Goes to Notre Dame, masters his craft, gets a scholarship.
Yep. Yes.
Perfect. Love it. So, yeah, I think the spring game was really interesting. I thought the format was good. We saw the ones go against ones. We saw all three quarterbacks, running with the second team and the third team. And tell you what I do know. I don't know who the starting five in the offensive line is, but I know we're going to be loaded in the offensive line.
Yep.
Probably, I think receivers are going to be better.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be interesting because this is the thing I thought about. I think CJ Carr is going to make receivers look better than Kenny Minchie will.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I'm leaning,
Carr.
Start the car, but I keep going, okay, when the play breaks down, Minchie's got that third dimension. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Because I think receivers and tight ends are like offensively my only concern. I'm not worried about quarterback. I'm not worried about running back.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the offensive line of scrimmage. It's like, okay, are we gonna be able to get back to relying on a tight end this year?
Yeah.
Because we felt like we underutilized Evans last year.
Yeah.
And did him a disservice.
Yeah.
And then receiver wise, like, okay, can we step up in the receivers?
Which Greathouse came out big at the end of the year.
Yes.
Kind of what people thought. Faison, has still been doing football in the spring, which has been interesting while still playing lacrosse.
He's still trying to win a national championship in lacrosse, and he's got a good chance.
Shout out to them. They clinched for the third out of the last 4 years, at least a share of the ACC regular season title with the lacrosse team. So,
and he's been
dynasty. Yeah.
Lacrosse has been that good, but
yeah. And they've struggled a little bit this year, but they still clinched a share of that ACC title. They struggled a little early, so
yeah.
It'll be interesting getting into the tournament time and them see if they can go run again here.
Chris Cavanaugh's coming on.
Yeah.
And for the first time he's carrying the load without his brother.
Yeah.
And then you got
new goalkeeper.
Well, Edelman last year was just freaking light.
Yeah.
They're good, but the new goalkeeper's not Edelman.
Right.
And then you got Taylor's coming around in freaking lacrosse and lacrosse team stacked.
Yeah.
Tyler Buckner, he's not playing lacrosse this year.
So.
But I did see where last year, like the lacrosse coach said, like if he wanted to dedicate himself,
he could be good.
He could be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was recruited to Notre Dame as a lacrosse player to begin with. So, but yeah. So anyway, that'll be interesting to see. But I think it's receivers and tight end, and I think tight end's not as bad as we think it is. Just are we going to utilize?
I'm sure we've got someone, right? Who's it going to be?
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be receivers, and if Greathouse continues to take the next step and becomes wide receiver one, Lasan becomes that slot guy. They use Jeremiah Love in the slot a little bit, receiver, because I know he's been running routes and being prepared, and we know Aeneas Williams was great catching the ball out of the backfield last year. I mean, so yeah, that's where the growth's got to come from the team. But I think I feel pretty good about us.
Yep.
And I don't think we've got a cakewalk of a schedule, but I feel pretty good about the team we're taking into that schedule for sure.
All right. Well, let's pivot into this because I know I've had a lot of people ask me about this for this upcoming year. I'm sure you've had people ask you about this. Is the Irish 365 pod going to be attending every game again this year?
No,
we will not be.
No.
Which we're sad about and happy about, right?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
It was a fun experience.
Yep. If you ever are thinking about bucket list thing, obviously everyone's schedule is different, everyone's time in life's different, everyone looks at the football schedule differently.
Yeah.
But if you get a chance and there's a year that you're like, this schedule works out pretty well for me.
We'll see. Yeah. So we
go for it, right?
Do it.
Yeah,
do it. Because we talked about it. And last year was a pretty favorable schedule.
Yeah,
and,
for us,
and it worked for us.
Yes.
And this year, again, we live less than 2 hours from the campus.
Yeah.
So home games are easy to do.
Yep.
And we've always kind of rocked this thing called the Shamrock Pass.
Yep.
We've upped our game this year.
That's what I was going to get into. I was going to get that in you in a minute, but
yeah,
you got the big news.
Yeah, so we pulled the trigger and we went full on season tickets this year.
Yep.
So we got some season tickets this year.
Yeah, I know it's been a long dream for you. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, and I owe it to my kids not playing football on Saturdays to tie me up. So.
Yep.
Caden will probably end up joining the football team this fall, and I'll have to make some tough choices.
Yeah.
But all said and done, my kids have always come first and always will.
Yep.
So anyway, so we pulled the trigger, went full on season tickets this year, and so I'm excited about that. But we have committed ourselves to Boston College as the away game we're going to attend.
So yeah, that's what we've decided. Since we are not, after we've attended all these games, going to away games is an incredible experience. Definitely, obviously nothing beats home game at Notre Dame Stadium, but going to an away game, backs against the wall, is always an exciting environment, and we want to try to do one a year is kind of our goal.
Yeah, we want to do an away game every year, and we really want to try and focus on a college campus game.
Yeah,
and because we talked about it, Pittsburgh's not that hard a game to go to from us. It's only a few hours drive, and it's but that's going to be in an NFL stadium.
Yeah, it's going to be Heinz.
I don't want to do Stanford over Thanksgiving. I do, but I don't.
Yeah,
not a big fan of Northern California.
No,
and I'm not a big fan of California in general. I like the weather and but yeah. And then, Arkansas was a real attractive game to go to. That was my second choice, going to Arkansas on campus in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute. Arkansas's 8-hour drive. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like,
maybe.
It's like, it's like, wait a minute. What other away games do we have?
I mean, Miami. Yeah. And Boston College.
And, and Caden's begging to go. Caden loves Miami.
Yeah.
He's a Miami guy. The only thing better than Miami is New York City. So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay, Miami, so...
But it's not college campus.
It's not a college campus.
It'll be a great atmosphere, I'm sure.
It wouldn't be a difficult season to make every game.
Yeah.
Because that's Labor Day weekend at Miami. So you got a holiday weekend in there, which is what made A&M work for us last year.
Yeah.
And then, and it's okay, Arkansas's not that big of a...
Yeah.
That's not it's not that difficult of a drive.
It's hard to get flights in there because there's not that many airports, right?
There's not, from where we are to there is not any flights. But then Pittsburgh's not that far.
Yeah.
So the only real stretch game in that whole thing, because I mean, 3 different airports we can go to and get nonstops to Miami.
Yeah.
A couple $100. I mean, well, our Boston College plane ticket's going to be cheaper than our game ticket.
Yeah.
And we got the game ticket at face value.
Yeah.
So Stanford was the only stretch game to make it to, and then that falls on Thanksgiving weekend. So even then, you got the holiday weekend. It's if you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But no, there's no plans to pull the trigger and make it every game. I think if I said that to my wife right now, she'd be like, "Are you nuts?" She knows I'm nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think there's any intent to do that this year, but we do plan on making it to Boston College, and that opens up some questions for us, about and I've had the question, if you're not going to be at games, any thoughts about podcasting, live podcast during the game? We'll see. So no plans yet.
I don't want my immediate reactions right on the internet, I don't think, during a game.
Yeah,
I got it. We might be, I think we've been talking about maybe doing some more post-game shows that more we just watched the game 30 minutes after. All right, let's go on.
Let's talk about something. Let's see what we're thinking.
But not what the, I don't need that out there. But
could be too raw. We may never get press box passes. If we do that. So.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's go into the next thing. I guess we talked about a little bit. Draft stock of quarterbacks. How did the NFL draft? How did the
NFL right? Yeah. So we're recording this Saturday, the NFL draft. So there's some guys obviously the undrafted guys will still filter in and out. I'm sure there'll be a couple more, but the immediate ones we've already had that. So obviously pick number 53, BMO goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I was told they were burning for a corner. They needed something. They had one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I mean, that dude, if he can stay healthy,
he's NFL ready.
He's ready. And I think my thing was we talked about this a little bit. He had another year of eligibility. And the NIL money was definitely there on the table for him.
Oh yeah.
Now, if there's two things right here. If BMO comes back and stays healthy for a full year, he may be a top 15 pick next year, right?
Yeah, had he not got injured this year, I think he was top 15 pick.
Yeah. Now, if BMO came back to Notre Dame next year, got hurt again this year, I mean, he fell to 53. Yeah, does he go to the day 3? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Does he?
So I completely understand. Never, but just like, oh man, could you imagine having Benjamin Morrison this year, and if he could stay fully healthy, like how his draft stock would have been through the roof. He probably would have made $2 million to stay at Notre Dame. Our defense is that much better again this year.
Yeah, but then we're gonna have another corner transfer.
We'd have another young guy transfer. So, anyways, next up, 96, Xavier Watts goes to the Atlanta Falcons. Good for Xavier Watts here.
I like that. I like that landing spot for him.
Yep.
We talked about possibly him ending up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We thought
that was kind of like that'd be pretty. Harrison Smith retires.
And you get Xavier Watts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also were like, well, maybe Baltimore. They're always looking for another defensive stud.
Yeah.
But Atlanta, I mean, I don't think he'll be a day one starter, but he'll be starting by middle of the year at least. You know what I mean?
He'll be
on the field.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be a contributor.
Yeah, and then it's a big gap here. 142 to Riley Mills goes to Seattle Seahawks. I mean, that's a place that I think we both talked about wanting to see a game at. It looks electric. Defense, but Seattle's a long ways away from Indiana here.
Yeah, I mean, but the crowd is just raucous and like NFL wise, that's one of those games. Yeah, I'd like to go see a game there.
Riley Mills there. And then 163 Mitchell Evans goes to the Carolina Panthers, a team that's looking for some offense. Looking for a lot of things, I think.
I gotta say, it's tough in Carolina right now.
Yep. And then last but not least, drafted at least 189, Indianapolis Colts State quarterback Riley Leonard.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the last Notre Dame quarterback to go to Indianapolis was
selling some real estate.
But anyway, I like Riley to Indianapolis. I mean, Anthony Richardson is injury prone. He's electric.
Yeah.
But I think
when he's on, he's on.
When he's on, he's electric. But I think when you want to run that style of an offense, like Riley Leonard gives you a chance.
Yep.
Now they got Daniel Jones,
yep.
And I don't think of Daniel Jones and AR being like interchangeable pieces, but I just don't think of Daniel. I think of Daniel Jones. I think of Eli Manning. I don't think of.
I mean, Daniel Jones is more athletic than you
think, but he's not Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
and I think Riley Leonard is more Anthony Richardson and less Daniel Jones. So I think that'll be interesting. I think it's a situation where, I think Jim Irsay is wanting to just tank the season so he can see if he can get Arch Manning next year, and then somehow trade to get Reggie Wayne Jr. on the roster.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Or Marvin Harrison Jr. on the roster.
Keep going.
But yeah, I think it's a good landing spot. We talked about it with Angeli when he gets NFL drafted, like in the right spot. I think the Colts are a place where it could be a really good opportunity for Riley Leonard, and he's an afterthought now. He's a backup, a development project, but Strickland's a good quarterback coach.
Yeah, Shane
Steichen is a good quarterback coach. So it's a good place for Riley to go and grow, and and I think he's probably his passing accuracy got better at the end of the year, and if he continues to develop that, I think. And
if you haven't watched the John Gruden, Riley Leonard hour thing, that was a good watch. That was a good watch. Entertaining.
Yeah. So that's the draft. So who do we got that didn't get drafted that got signed?
Yeah. So obviously it's a couple hours after. Howard Cross goes to Cincinnati, which I missed. I missed one of them. But yeah, Howard Cross goes to Cincinnati after the draft. Jordan Clark goes to the Jets. And Bo Collins goes to the New York Giants undrafted.
Yeah.
I missed Jack Kaiser.
You didn't get
because I did not put Jack Kaiser in this peak, but I remember because I thought he was going to go to Cincinnati. That was kind of like my bold take, but no, Jack Kaiser did get drafted. Let me get the pick number there real quick.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Jack Kaiser did get drafted. And he's just the guy that, like we said, most experienced guy. That's why I kind of thought he might end up going to Cincinnati with Golden. But Jacksonville, I got Jack Kaiser. So, I mean, great for him. Don't love seeing him in the Colts division, but not huge. I mean, we're very, very casual Colts fans, so we like watching the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching the Bears.
Yep.
Colts moved to town in the 80s. I started watching the Colts because back in the day, there was 4 channels. You didn't get a choice.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, then we had the Manning era, and if you were in Indiana and Peyton Manning, I mean, Jim Harbaugh is as much as a weirdo as he is, a Michigan man he is, when he was captain comeback for the Colts, that was really an awesome time period. Long before your time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you couldn't be in Indiana and during the Peyton Manning era and not like the Colts. Like, how could you not like the Colts? And so, I kind of think, Riley Leonard has a little bit of that Peyton Manning all shucks to him. Which I
definitely
think
Southern charm.
I wished he had the Peyton Manning like quarterback in him. I don't know if he's got that skill set. I hope he finds it though, because that would be freaking phenomenal. And then I'd be mad if he does. Like, where was that in week 4? Or game 2?
No kidding.
But yeah, I think that's you have to be a Colts fan in Indiana if you were here during the Peyton Manning period. We've been on that quarterback carousel since the departure of Andrew Luck.
The booing of we're cursed.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think it's a good spot for Riley. And unfortunately, as Colts fans, we will have to see, Mr. Notre Dame Jack Kaiser twice a year. But I'm happy for him. I mean, he's a kid that, went to a small, tiny high school. I think hometown was 800 people. Like, not even the high school, the hometown was 800 people. And he won Mr. Football from a small school, running triple option and being a stud linebacker. And I know your high school played him, in the playoffs, and I
think the year after he graduated though. Because they got bumped up.
So I mean, it just a heck of a dude. And then so yeah, I'm happy for him, and I think he's one of those guys I'm not sure about. Like, he's a guy I could see, 3 years in the NFL and never again.
Business,
but he's also a guy I could see like Harrison Smith that just
sticks around.
Just, oh my gosh, he's had a heck of a career. Like, he's been around here for 8-10 years. So yeah, I hope Kaiser has the 10-year career in the NFL, but the average NFL career is 3. So if you get a 3-year career, you've done good. So yeah, that's what's happening in football here of late. So
a lot of exciting stuff. Obviously, it feels like we just finished the last season, and already feels like we're in the next season. I know we got a long ways till that end of August for opening weekend, but I mean, college football is year round now at this point. Like, it's always been in the news, but with NIL, transfer portal, it's just it's nonstop.
I think the thing now, like from the football perspective, it's gonna the information's gonna die down. Because we're past the spring game. The NFL draft has happened. You're gonna have summer workouts. They're gonna start, in June or whatever. You're gonna hear some stuff come out, and then obviously fall camp hits there in August. But so the information from the football perspective is all going to be in the recruiting area over the next few weeks. And Notre Dame, don't follow recruiting, but if you do,
it's not looking too bad right now.
Right now, they're doing okay. They're doing okay. But there's some guys that are committed that may not be.
As they don't fall in love with them yet, right?
Don't go out and buy the NIL jerseys and that kind of stuff. But so the football wise, it feels like it's been a really long season. I feel like it's just gonna feel like a really long off season. It's just, this is
gonna be the dog days of summer, right?
It is. I mean, it's gonna be tough, and it's like, it's gonna take forever. But
one thing I did want to bounce back though on the season ticket age, because I know you're excited for it and I'm excited for it, but is this just one of those things? So I'm kind of curious to the listeners out there. We feel like we've seen a lot more people become first-time season ticket holders this year. Is this just because of thing? Because we're noticing because it's something that's affected our life.
We're in it now.
So. We're in it now, so we're now seeing a bunch of this. But I feel like I've seen on social media, like different Facebook groups, X posts. Caught myself.
There you
go. 10 to 15 of these posts, like generally, like so excited, first-time season ticket holder this year. So if you're one of those people, like definitely, let us know. Because is it just us, or is Notre Dame season tickets going to be like back before they did the expansion, where they're hard, like tickets are hard to get again? Is that coming back?
Yeah, because I remember like when I first looked into season tickets 25 years ago, 30 years ago, like it was, you have to pay a deposit to get on the waiting list, and you have to pay that deposit every year, and it was like $50. And they estimated like a 7-year wait list. Between like before you would be able to get a ticket, because the stadium was sold out season tickets. And the only way you got tickets was you knew a season ticket holder. And that was before like, Ticketmaster and all the secondary markets and the StubHubs and, SeatGeeks and all those things even existed. And So I remember like the first website I came across that actually was a resale. Some guy had it, was the most generic graphics you ever saw, called Victory Tickets.
Yeah.
But this was a guy that was a Notre Dame alumni who like pulled other Notre Dame alumni together and said, "Hey, you can resell your tickets here," and he charged like $25.
Yeah.
As a fee. But like that was the first like website I remember. I don't even think that even exists anymore.
Yeah.
That guy's out of the market. But he was
Yeah.
kind of the early resale market guy for Notre Dame games. But yeah, it was always kind of like, I knew somebody was a Purdue grad, so I could get the Purdue guy to get me Notre Dame tickets, or it was like it was always tough to get to a game.
Yeah.
And so with the success, is it going to drive more season ticket holders? Now, obviously, there's still tickets available for games, so they haven't got to the point where they've sold out of season tickets.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this the other day. We always lived off the Shamrock Pass, which got you 5 of the 6 home games. You never knew where you're going to sit.
And this year there's 7. Yeah.
But we haven't even seen anybody even talking about the Shamrock Pass. Like they're phasing that out. Yeah. So, and I think the big push in my mind, what really put me over the top this year, was the IU game.
Yeah.
It was, we had to make some calls.
We were scrapping.
And like, it was like, I've got to be at that game, and I don't know how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, we were able to make that, but that was the one I think I worked the hardest for.
Yeah.
Like the IU game was by far the hardest game to get into. It was, it didn't take that many phone calls to find someone that had some tickets for, the Sugar Bowl, or find some tickets for the Orange Bowl, or, like IU.
And even if we went on the secondary market, it was a third of the price in that IU, or half the price of that IU game.
Yeah. Like, the only place I couldn't pull a connection to was the national championship.
Yeah.
But like that was by far the hardest, but understandable why. And the secondary market was twice that of the IU game. But I mean, I had IU people calling me and, reaching out to your mom, because her IU affiliation and attending school there.
Yeah.
But people like, oh, can you? It's like, no,
we're struggling here.
We can't get you tickets. Like,
yeah,
we got us some, but that's
we're not. Yeah.
I mean, you phoned a friend and found someone that had some extras that was season ticket holder, and then, But it was, so that's what pushed me over the top. But that was the coldest game I think I've ever been at Notre Dame Stadium.
Yeah.
We've been at some cold games.
And you want to do it again, though?
But I want to go back. That environment was electric.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was electric, and I don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
That reason alone is like, I got to pull the trigger on some season tickets. I got to be in the stadium. I got to see these games.
Yep.
So, all right.
Well, we appreciate you guys all listening to our 65 podcast. And like we said, we got some stuff going, so we'll be around. Don't worry. If you always got questions, comments, anything, we're on social media. You know where to find us. But hey,
hit us up.
Hit us up, but try us on X. Why not, right?
Look for us on X. Like, subscribe, whatever it is you got to do.
All the good stuff.
Thumbs up, hearts, whatever it is on your social media.
Yep.
Let us know you're out there. Send us your questions.
Yep. So appreciate you guys, and go Irish.
Go Irish.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night.
And God bless.